Hello, this is a message for someone who's in some kind of partnership. And if this message is for you, it could be a marriage, relationship, or it could be a business partnership. But in either case, you've been in it a while, a long time, years, probably closer to a decade is what I'm getting, over 5 years. And in the beginning of this partnership, whichever type it is, you and the person you're partnered up with had pretty similar goals and aspirations, you felt like at the time. And that was one of the reasons you decided to partner up with them. And what's happened over the years and what the message is about is that now you feel a very big mismatch between their aspirations. I'm getting specifically their definition of success versus yours, okay? So this message is for someone whose definition of success might even have evolved throughout the years, which, I mean, in my opinion, normal. But you are partnered up with a person, if this message is for you, whose definition of success has not quite evolved throughout the years. It has devolved. Is that the right word? I don't know. I hope you guys understand what I mean. I'll explain either way. As you have raised your standards, this person has lowered theirs. As you have widened your expectations, this person has lowered their expectations, okay? And not only expectations, it's more so something here about ambition, okay? So there's what I'm getting is a partnership between two parties where one wants to lower the goal to make it more attainable, while the other is focused on sort of raising the bar to raise the quality of their life. Okay, so this message is for the person who has this bigger vision for their life than their current business or life partner. Okay, so again, if this message is for you, this has sort of been unfolding for a really long time, but you might find yourself recently sort of do an inventory of past critical conversations that were had in the beginning of this partnership, or maybe even prior to settling into the partnership. And the reason this is happening, if this message is for you, it might have been happening a little bit obsessively, where suddenly it's like you're taking stock of what really took place. It's almost like you're revisiting and you're trying to figure out what really took place at a certain time in your life. And you're feeling at the time that you partnered up with this person, you're feeling, if this message is for you, that at the time, because of some external factor, you were not necessarily at your best, is what you're coming to the conclusion of after all this. I'm not gonna call it reminiscing, because there's no positive aspect to this revisiting of the past. You've been almost taking inventory, and it has not been a joyful experience. It's been more so a eye-opening experience for you, because if this message is for you, what you're remembering is almost like you are now connecting dots. What's the American saying? Hindsight is 2020. Yeah, it's like now you're seeing things clearly that you couldn't see back then. And so part of this message that's been coming through is for you to be a little kinder to yourself, okay? Because I'm getting someone that has become quite upset with themselves as they revisit the past and the way they decided upon this partnership and the way in which they compromised along the way of this partnership in regards to their ambition, in regards to their concept of success, or even their concept of good quality of life. There's something here as well with work ethic. Okay, there's some kind of mismatch in work ethic as well. Maybe concept of what's worth doing in life or what life is about. You know, sometimes you talk to people who can't wait to retire, right? And early retirement and this and that. I'm not going to knock anyone's choices in life as long as they're not hurting anybody. But for me, I guess a person who's had the privilege where it was maybe even encouraged I didn't pursue a career. I find that work is a wonderful privilege kind of to have. I find that to have something especially that you feel passionate about, that is your, to follow one's calling in one's career and be of service to the world through your unique skill set, gifts, interest, is a beautiful thing. And it gives people meaning. There's that Japanese word, I forget what it is, but it's a Japanese word. And you know, I think I've mentioned on here, I read a lot about longevity, and I study a lot about longevity and the science behind it on every aspect. And you know, in Japan, they have one of the highest, if not the highest right now, population of people over 100 years old. And so there's a lot to take away from their culture if you're interested in longevity. And one of the things that comes up again and again in studies to do with why people live so long there is this word that I forget, unfortunately. But it means, it's not a word that has a direct translation in English or Spanish, but it's sort of like a sense of purpose, okay? It means a reason to get up in the morning because it's some kind of commitment that you have to somebody or something where you feel needed and you feel a sense of purpose and a drive to accomplish things, okay? So I always find that so very interesting, okay? Especially coming from Spain, where, you know, it's almost like a mandatory retirement age, and people really embrace the retirement culture as a really good thing. And, you know, I have mixed feelings on the subject as a result. But I do feel like having something you feel passionate about, in which you contribute to society through your natural gifts, interests, and abilities, and you are able to create wealth and abundance from it for yourself and others, which is really the most beautiful part. As someone who's been a business owner before, giving people jobs is so fulfilling. So it's a great contribution to society. And so it's something to feel good about, but not everybody feels this way about work and the concept of work or even what they do for work. I mean, it's in part, I think, like I said, a privilege to have even experienced these feelings about work, I feel like. So whoever this message is for feels that way about something, maybe about work in general or your career, or maybe you dream that you could have a relationship like that with your work and your career, and the person you're partnered up with, possibly in business, does not feel the same. Is the kind of person that's more so looking forward to retirement and not loving work, and sort of accepting that mentality and learning to do with less instead of pushing themselves to do more to get to that place that you want to get to. So the big message coming through here is, you are each on a rightful path, because we each have the right to feel how we feel about these things, right? Sorry, it cut off. But basically what I was saying is there is no wrong paths in this regard, okay? your partner, whether in life or business, is not wrong for not loving work, and for not being very ambitious, and for being more of a minimalist in comparison to you. And you're certainly not wrong for wanting to contribute to society, and for wanting to utilize your gifts and skill sets, or for wanting to accumulate wealth or create wealth for yourself and others, and to create jobs. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is really good. That's what society is built on, people like you. And people like your partner that don't enjoy that, they couldn't benefit from all the things in society if there wasn't people like you, right? So there's nothing to feel bad about here, except it's important to realize, that's the message, the important guidance coming through here is that these are incompatible paths for a partnership, especially in business. Okay, in a relationship, I guess it depends, but what is necessary here is an acceptance of each other. You need to accept that this is how you feel and not make yourself wrong. Also, don't let the other person make you wrong, and be mindful to not make them wrong as well. And realize that it might be a matter of incompatibility. That is a hard enough realization on its own when you're a business partner with someone, or a life partner with someone, probably even worse. That's a hard enough realization on its own. You don't need to add to it by feeling like bad about yourself or making the other person feel bad about themselves. It's just, if you want to continue on your natural path and be fulfilled in life, this person is going to have to learn to accept who you are and appreciate it and support it and understand what it entails. While you are going to have to accept how this person is and let them be, and not try to get out of them a nature that is just not there. Okay? 1.2, we have to understand that not everyone has that in them. Not everyone enjoys it's like enjoying working out. I'm a person that's done sports her whole life. It's hard for me to imagine not enjoying it, even when I wasn't healthy at all, or when I'm in pain. I still enjoy, getting out, walking around, moving, doing things. There are people who don't, though. So, of course, there's consequences to that. Like, there's consequences to not liking work, or skill development, or things like that, or contributing to society. There are consequences to that. Whether you get to do it or not, even if you're privileged enough where you get to not, there are consequences, right? You could be a person that's naturally skinny and it doesn't matter if you don't move much, but there's going to be physical consequences you're going to deal with still, even if it's not obesity. Okay, so the bottom line here is self-acceptance, acceptance of others, an accurate assessment of the situation, okay? And kind of reassessing the partnership. That's the biggest message coming through. You have to reassess if you're both capable of remaining supportive of each other in such different paths, and whether that's what you need in a partnership, okay? So hopefully this was helpful. Kind of a complicated message, but